It's Jim and Sam. 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 Jim and Sam.
Good morning, friends. I like that. That sounds nice, right?
Yeah, it sounds really nice. Was it just my connection, or did that sound like Roger Stone was playing the intro for a second?
Something went out. Yep.
Yeah, I got a little bit of that over here. I have no idea what that was.
A little wonky, wouldn't you say?
A little wonky way to start a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's going on there? I didn't know. Yeah,
That's a good observation.
Wonky.
It's a little wonky.
Yeah. Who knew?
It does run off of like a Windows 7 computer, so that might have something to do with
sick. You mean Sirius? Just all of Sirius?
it. Yep,
Like
the entire
platform. The entire platform of Sirius XM. They're like, what, you got, Windows 7? Yeah. It's still good. That's actually the better one.
Having an issue with my green screen. It's not looking very good.
Yeah, for some reason, it's just reflecting on your mic and T-shirt.
Oh.
It's not reflecting on your green screen at all.
Well, who knows? These things happen. Mr.
It's a little wonky over there, Jim. It's a little wonky. Your green screen's a little wonky.
Technology's a bit wonky. I don't know exactly what it is.
Looks like it's recognizing the black color instead of the green color. That's a little wonky.
You know, it's a little wonky. I don't know what's going on.
A little wonky. I don't know
Really
what that is.
frustrating. Really bothering
That's crazy. Yeah.
I'll work on it.
That's
Can you
okay.
stop my
Well.
video?
Oh, because you don't want to be
Sometimes you gotta
embarrassed. You don't. Yeah.
Good reboot.
Oh, yeah. The old plug and unplug.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's weird that it would recognize the wrong. It would chroma key out the wrong colors, but who knows? I bet it'll be just fine. Oh, it was there for a second. All you want to do is have the White House in the background. I see it. All you want to do is be Jimmy President.
It's very odd.
Man, good thing this doesn't happen on TBS.
Oh, my goodness. Let's hope not.
Oh,
Let's
my
hope not.
gosh.
What is it doing?
Well, welcome. I don't know, man. I don't know. That's very strange. And I have no idea. I mean, I guess it's a Zoom thing, but I don't know. Jim's background is all, well, it's wonky. A word to describe it would be wonky.
Yeah, it's really, there's something going on here, and I don't know what it is.
Wouldn't that be, can you imagine being like a tech service person or like a Zoom, like, customer service representative and just having somebody call up? I don't know. It's a little wonky. I don't know what it is. Oh, finally, we got one photo that's working. Yeah, it's the big picture of young Teft is working just fine. All right, so we got a background.
Yeah, I feel like there's I'm in a horror movie. There's a giant Travis behind being attacked by a
Attack
giant
of the
Travis.
50-foot Teft.
Yeah, ruining boys' heinies all over New York. All right.
Can you imagine that, having to deal with that as a tech guy? I don't know. It's just kind of wonky. I just woke up and it's doing something. It's doing something. I don't know.
I'd love to know. Potatoes. We'll do potatoes.
Okay.
That's probably awful to look at.
Sir, what exactly is going on? I don't know. There's something happening here, though. There's something with the technology here. I don't quite get it.
I don't know. The whole thing feels like it's just going wonky. And all I know is the guy told me that he'd be back in a jiff, and I didn't hear from him.
Just tons of words that mean nothing.
Just words that are irritating. Like, they're irritating words. Wonky is an irritating word.
It's annoying.
A jiff is an annoying word. Back in a jiff, will you? It's a fucking
Yeah, be back in a
irritating
jiff.
word. Yeah.
Grab a cup of water. Be back in a jiff. Oh, don't come back. Yeah, don't come back. Yeah. Hey, we got no aliens yesterday, did we?
No.
Come on. That's what the thing. I mean, if there was aliens, wouldn't they just tell what happened? I thought it said on Monday we were supposed to find out that there's spaceships, and Bob Lazar, who, you know, regardless of what Troy says, we were supposed to find out that Bob Lazar was actually not bullshit.
Right. Yeah, no, nothing. And I was checking, and I did not see anything about the aliens. I was going to watch the thing on Joe's show with Jeremy Corbyn, I think, or and the other guy too, Bob Knapp. I think those are names. The investigators. But I
the same
don't believe
filmmaker
Bob
that-
Lazar. Yeah, they did the Bob
It's the
Lazar.
same filmmaker that did Bob Lazar, right?
Yeah, and I just don't believe him. I think the education thing is a lie. I wish I could believe. I want to believe Bob Lazar. I really do. But they make your college disappear. 2 universities just doesn't know who you are anymore, and yet they let you live. I don't get it. It's just silly.
That's gonna be so scary if we find out it's all true and they actually did delete his college.
I hope
Like,
it
you
is.
could just delete a college?
Yeah. The truth of him being truthful is a much better story. I would much rather have that be true. I would much rather have Bob Lazar be true. But people who like Bob Lazar are just not going to look at the fact that these 2 colleges wouldn't disappear. They just wouldn't.
What? They might look at it, but go, I get that that's fishy, but it's not enough to sway me. Whereas somebody like you would go, that is the exact same thing that is swaying me, because if that's fishy, it draws into question everything that he says, not just the college.
Yeah. Or he
I
works
think
like
there's
a
too many
sort of-
coincidences, though. You know what I mean? Like, there's
What do
too
you
many
mean?
things
Okay,
lined up that you're just. What's that?
The word, it's just tough for you.
Yeah.
The word was tough.
Coincidence. There's
That's
too many
it. You got it.
Coincidences.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
That's
There's too many
fine.
things that
Say what
line
it
up.
is.
That's where I kind of go. Okay, you know, I it sounds like it might be real to me, but you know, it's open to interpretation.
The element, I don't know enough about him saying that there's an element that they haven't found. People are saying that that's proof that he was telling the truth. I don't know enough about that to say it's not true. Like, I don't know exactly what that is. But the idea of, I did the school one, I just can't get beyond. I can't. And as far as speculating, reversing of alien technology, I mean, people have been for a long time saying that that's what they were doing. But hey, I mean, he got weird. When I saw his answer, I didn't believe him. Like, I watched him give an answer on it, and I'm like, this guy's not telling the truth. Like, I just didn't. He was like, oh, I got a headache. I mean, come on.
Oh, that's
Rogan,
right.
You got a headache.
Yeah,
Well, he
answering
doesn't do those
questions.
interviews.
What's
He doesn't
that?
ever do any interviews.
Yeah, but
He
I
gets
mean,
migraines.
when you said that you reverse engineered, and I know he's not profiting off it, and I don't think he's raking people's money in or any of that shit. But I think that he just, I told you, I thought he kind of half stole somebody else's story. That was my opinion. Was that
But,
And-
it is,
then
it
filled
is
in the
somebody's story,
details.
but it wasn't his. Yeah.
but don't you think there was a lot of other things though that he said, and that has been proven that he was right over time?
What was it that it was proven? I mean, there may have been the element thing. I just don't know enough about. People say element 15, but I don't know.
He knew of Area 51 in 80. He talked about in 89. It wasn't acknowledged by the government until 2013. He knew of
Yeah, but the whole Area 51,
the-
everybody knew about.
Yeah, nobody. It's
Uh,
not like people found out about
no.
Area 51 in
Yeah, that's
2013.
really well known. Yeah, that was common knowledge.
it started with him in 89. He knew the exact location of Area 51 and S4. Element 115, it wasn't added to the periodic table till 2004. He knew about hand scanners. He knew about propulsion devices, how they worked. He knew about how the propulsion
Magnets.
devices went on there with the bellies forward. Remember, like on the gimbal video
Mhm.
that came out. He knew that he knew exactly where they were testing at Area 51, what day, what time. I mean, it's just he passed 5 lie detector tests. His name was in the MIT phone directory.
That part,
He's never profited
hold on.
from
Hold
anything.
on.
Like he's never found any. He's never gotten any money from anything.
the phone
He
directory.
doesn't do public
one-
speaking.
The phone
There's a
directory
lot of-
one, I don't believe. I know he was there, but I know you're not lying. The phone directory one was he was in there, but for something else. He was like in there as a subcontractor or something. That one I'm not going to give you. The other ones I can't debate, but that one I remember not believing when I heard it.
He said that the governments had crashed UFOs. Now they admit that they do.
They don't admit that.
you
They
know.
Well, they've not admitted
Well,
that
they-
they crashed
no,
UFOs.
so that was a
Well,
guy
they said
briefing.
that
And again, you might be right, but that was a guy briefing the Pentagon, who said
That would be
there's-
big news if they admitted that.
Oh my God! Yeah, they have not admitted that they have UFOs at all.
No, they said they have vehicles not made on this earth.
They haven't.
They-
had,
But
no,
again,
they said that-
we don't know exactly
the
what
re-
that means. That's very gray.
They didn't say it. It was a guy who
and
said,
the report was that they are going to say that, but they still haven't said it.
yeah. he was a guy briefing the Pentagon on something. And I'm not nitpicking words, but I mean, the Pentagon, that would be much bigger news if they had come out and said, hey, we have stuff.
Yeah, like some crash UFOs in this big warehouse. I want to know.
The U.S. Air Force acquired the site in 55. So Area 51, the government, you're right, they never acknowledged it. You're right, until 2013. But, I mean, people have known, like I've known about Area 51. In Search Of used to talk about it. And In Search Of used to talk about it before 89. Like 89 was not, at least I think they did, or maybe I'm just remembering. Well, hold on. Maybe I'm incorrect.
I don't know when. I know I knew Area 51 for a long time, but it could have been in the 90s that I found out about it. I don't know. I can't tell you who's the first person that told the public about Area 51. But yeah, when the government acknowledged Area 51 in 2013, it was one of those things where it's like, yeah, we all know. I mean, I guess it's cool. It's like, it's interesting that they're finally saying, yeah, this is true. But, I mean, it's something we were all talking about for years and years and years before that. Although maybe not before 1989. I don't know.
I just vaguely remember it from when I was a kid. Like, I don't remember just hearing about Area 51 when I was 21.
Right.
But I can't, that's why I'm looking. I'm trying to think, is there an older, I can remember, maybe I'm making that memory up. Like, you think you remember something you don't.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
I'm thinking of Leonard Nimoy talking about it, but I could be incorrect.
Yeah, you heard about it at 25 and you think you heard about it at 15. Like,
right,
definitely. Right. Yeah. I was disappointed that they didn't. I'm waiting to find out, like, why. There's got to be something coming out, right? Unless
you hope
nothing
so.
happens.
They are talking about it, and then at least the New York Times did a story on it. When the Times is doing a story, at least it's something. But who knows, man? You hear all these things, and again, the New York Times is a business, and they know that they're in trouble. So maybe they're looking for clickbait as well. Like maybe they get huge hits on these stories and they phrase them carefully. I don't know. I don't trust them.
And it's a Friday story too. Going into the weekend with a fun alien story. Who knows? They might know that there's a pretty good chance that this goes nowhere, but we'll put it in on our Friday edition.
Yeah, weird they would tease it and then just nothing.
Right? Like what? Like I mean, I would say if I were a skeptical conspiracy theory type person, I would say that somebody took the weekend to silence somebody or something like that. Like you could, now that when you start teasing stuff and then it never comes out, I don't think that does anything to dissuade the theorists. Yeah, I don't think that makes it seem like there's less going on when stuff gets teased and then there's just nothing. It doesn't seem that's not less fishy. It's really weird though that they go like, yeah, we have this information and this is the day we'll be giving it out. You would think this information would be big enough that they're like, oh, we have it. We better give it out right now. This isn't tease type of information. This is crashed UFOs. This is Bob Lazar.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Maybe they're waiting.
Looked up Area 51. I don't see it. I don't see it in the on Wikipedia. They have a list of all the episodes, and at least in the episode list, they don't in Area 51. I'm sorry, in Search Of from the 70s, because I thought I knew it from there. So I'm just trying to see, do I know it from there or no? Maybe not.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was from '89 when he first started talking about it. I'm pretty sure, but I can't find any way to prove that.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know.
But there's still a lot of things that he said that just, even if he is totally full of shit, it's pretty remarkable that he somehow knew this 31 years ago.
That's true. I mean, yeah. I mean, a couple of the things, like I said, what is element 115? Is it just that there's an extra element, or is it a specific, like, what is it that he knew about?
He just figured out somehow that this element, that it helps run propulsion devices. And it's by combining two elements that we have here, and you can only do it. It only happens for like a second. And then, so I don't think they've figured out how to keep it contained to make it useful to,
right,
for us now. But they're still trying to figure it out. But I mean, still, that was pretty crazy that there was a huge gap between '89 and when it was added to the periodic table in 2004.
Don't forget, there was another one too. Was the Higgs and Bose, the God particle? They took a look, was theorized for a long time too, and then they finally discovered that. That was discovered recently, and that was talked about for years. that they would discover this thing. But again, I'm not. Look, I want to believe Bob Lazar, but you have to take every single exit and seal it completely in order for it to be believable. And there's just a couple.
Do you think it's possible that he had unbelievably top secret government information at that time and was blabbing it to everybody, and the government decided to fuck with him? Is that a possibility?
No, because I don't believe that he got the information. Like, you know why I don't? Because he was young, and all of a sudden he was given this top secret UFO clearance. I told you my thoughts are that he took somebody else's story.
That's a lot to remember from somebody else's story, especially to be rock solid 30 years later.
Not really. If you're a smart guy, he's a very smart dude. I mean, he's obviously brilliant. He knows what he's talking about. I mean,
Couldn't get into college.
And I'm not knocking you, but I'm saying, like, you remember it. I remember a lot, some of it. Like people like Rogan remembers it. So if guys who are regular guys can remember a good portion of the story, and I'm trying to figure out what he's saying can be true, and still have these logic gaps that I don't buy. Like, I'm trying to give credence to the fact that there are possibly alien bodies there, but I just don't. And that would also help me seal the exits for the things I don't like in his story. Like, I just don't like that they gave this guy security clearance so fast. I don't believe it. I don't believe they give you UFO clearance that quick.
Well, he was a master at propulsion and had turned his car into a rocket. And so he understood things. And, maybe at that time, like he was saying, they've been looking at these things for years and they couldn't figure them out. So they're like, well, maybe let's bring in this guy that has sort of an alternate way of thinking, and put him in there and kind of see what he can do with it. Is that a possibility?
Yes, it is. It's not what I believe, but I do think, yes, that is a possibility. Sure. That they would try. I just don't, it's the level of clearance. And then he walked by and he thought he saw a little man in a chair and he saw 9 ships in an open warehouse. I mean, the level of clearance that this guy had. And then all of a sudden he was not there anymore. And he never went to the colleges.
Well, he was blabbing. He was on the news blabbing about what he was seeing.
Okay.
Yeah, it does. So it does look like the KLAS George Knapp interview with Bob Lazar was the first kind of big public Area 51 exposure. It was the first time details of Area 51 came out. Yeah, that was May 13th, 1989. Which, I believe that is the instance that, Troy, you were referring to when he went on the news and started blabbing about it.
Which he did, yeah.
Yeah,
So
they don't like that a lot of times.
Let's say you have top secret information that is, think about 30 years ago. I mean, how secretive you had to be. I mean, now you talk about UFOs and aliens, just like whatever. But 30 years ago, I mean, that was a pretty crazy thing. So can you imagine going on the air? Let's just say that he was involved in this and he was blabbing it everywhere. What do you think that the government would do to this guy? Like, they're not just going to let this guy slide. They're not just going to let him be like, okay, hey, stop doing that. They're going to do something to him. So what do you think they would do to silence him from continuing to do this?
Not take away his, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know how they silence people. I just don't believe that you get 2 schools.
But wouldn't be a good way to just completely discredit him?
But what about all the people? Bob Lazar is not helping his case. Bob Lazar is not dead. Bob Lazar could say, no, I went to school with this one, but he's not doing that. Where's his pictures from school? He has zero, he doesn't have his diploma.
He has his ID card from one of the schools.
All right,
Student ID?
Didn't he work there at one of them or no? Maybe
No, he worked at Los Alamos.
Los Alamos.
And he actually went back there with George Knapp because they just tried to discredit that he never worked there. And the security knew him and he walked right in and was talking. Everybody knew his way around. So they tried to discredit him from working there. And he walked in and knew his way around. So, I mean, there was some, I don't know.
There is something you could say, because the thinking would be like, well, if the government wanted to silence him so much, why wouldn't they just Epstein him? Why wouldn't he just be suicided? But maybe it would be more effective, instead of making a martyr out of him to everybody that believes him, try to discredit him and make him look like a crazy person. Again, strictly playing devil's advocate.
But he's not naming any people he went to school. If he was naming name your professors. Like, they're discrediting you, and he's not. If he did that and came out and said, and they were like, yeah, I went to school with, of course I remember Bob. We went to school together. I would believe him.
Well,
but he's not doing that.
Probably
He's
then he just got these guys' names and he's saying them. You know, you'd probably want the professors to come out and be like,
yes,
no, we do know this guy. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But if he's just naming professors, the argument would be like, oh, he just got those guys' names.
Well, why wouldn't people say that? If somebody came out and said Travis never worked here, or you never worked,
doesn't.
Be like, yeah, that's true. He just shows up.
Yeah.
But I mean, why wouldn't we just go? No, of course he worked here. Yeah, he went to school.
Well,
like that's not.
I mean,
We're not going to
if-
trust the
if-
government.
Yeah, if you're saying that he's doing something that's unbelievably illegal and you know, blabbing this top secret information, who in the right mind is going to come out and be like, no, I know this guy? You know what I mean? Nobody's going to want to have anything to do with that. No one's going to want to.
Okay. Detroit.
Oh
Freeze.
boy.
Oh, okay. He froze
No.
up.
Troy never worked here.
Oh no.
Troy
the
never
government
worked
silenced him.
here. Troy never worked here anyway. I don't even know who he is. I've never met the guy. So if you hear Troy,
you froze
you
up a
know.
little, buddy.
Oh yeah, they're back.
Oh, okay. Maybe he
I
doesn't
don't
work here.
I just don't believe it. I want to. I want to. Trust me. His story, if it's true, is amazing that we have that. I told you, I think he knows what he knows because maybe he had a job doing some light job there that gave him limited access, so he knew where the facility was. And I do think that I don't know why I do that. Maybe because he did fail a lie detector test and he passed another one. I don't believe he's just passed all his lie detector tests.
Can you say that there's a lot of coincidences, though? Unbelievable amounts of coincidence.
There's a couple. The element 151, which I don't know much about. But again, I'm not saying that. I just don't know enough to debate it with you. I'm saying I don't. And him knowing when they're testing certain things, again, he could have gotten that knowledge from someone else, or he could have it firsthand. Him kind of knowing propulsion because he's a very smart guy, yeah. It just hasn't been proven to me, and the things that are weighing against him have not been disproven, and it's much easier for him to prove the things that it looks like he's lying about that have nothing to do with Area 51, but he won't.
He knew how the vehicles flew belly forward that we saw in the gimbal videos. Those just came out 2 years ago.
They did.
I mean, that's a pretty amazing thing to know that long ago, especially when, I mean, you had no idea of propulsion devices then. So to know how they operated then.
Yeah,
you know.
sure. I mean, I don't have an answer for that. I don't know.
I think my thing is more that nothing he said has been disproven.
His schooling on two different schools has been disproven.
Not as schools, but like all the stuff about, you know, UFOs and everything that he's talking about. None of that's been disproven. None of it's been proven, but none of it's been disproven.
Well, how could they disprove it?
I don't know. I'm just saying that.
What could be done to disprove it?
I don't know.
I don't either.
It's just
I mean, like,
none
how
of
do you
it's been-
disprove something that's never been proven? It's like disproving something that we've only speculated about.
But like
has
the stuff
never
that
been
like Troy
proven.
said, like these videos that come out, you know, like just a couple of years ago, support what he was saying.
Which is weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, let's go to Mike in New York.
What's up, Mike?
Hey, maybe Art Bell wasn't so crazy after all.
Why
That's
do you
right.
say that?
Well, he was talking about this stuff 35, 40 years ago, and everybody said he was a nut.
Well, I mean, I didn't listen to Art Bell 40 years. I listened to Art Bell probably 2003 and 4. When we were off the radio is when I listened to Art Bell. So I don't know what he was saying 35 years ago. I mean, I know he talked a lot about UFOs. I loved Art Bell. But he also had guys
yeah.
who do shadow people on. You know, he had a lot of the amazing
Wow.
Kreskin he used to have on. I mean, it
Maybe
wasn't all
that stuff
fucking
will be
scientists.
proven.
What's that?
Maybe they'll prove some of that stuff too, you know? I mean, he was
That's
on
true.
this Area 51 stuff way before all this. So, hey, I just wanted to put it out there.
Okay. All right.
He's
Mike,
right.
thank you.
Yeah, good
Well, there you
talking
go.
to you.
He's right. Yeah, and you
People
wonder
wanna
maybe that
believe.
is what's next. Maybe there will be shadow people. You don't know.
Hey, look, in order for this stuff to be proven, every single angle has to be explained. Like, you can't have giant holes in a guy's name me with some other science where there's giant holes in a guy's education. It's a stupid thing. If he said I lied about my education to get the job and I didn't go to college, I was just a smart teenager and I lied, and then they found out I lied and they fired me. I mean, it would have been a stretch, but I would have had a much easier time believing that.
Wouldn't that be funny if everything he was saying was true, except he was just embarrassed by his school? So literally his schooling was the only lie and everything else was true, but now he's too ashamed to say, okay, that part is a lie, but the rest is true, I swear.
Because he's so built up. It's almost like, remember in Catch Me If You Can?
Yeah.
I mean, you can lie your way in and out of a lot of shit. If you're a good liar,
back then.
smart person. Yeah, back then, that was the 60s. But I mean, 89, we didn't have the computer checks we have today. So again, I'm just trying to say that maybe there's truth to what he says. But how can I remedy it with myself? I don't know.
And what would
I
be
want
the
to believe
point
him,
of it?
dude. I know you don't think I do. I really want to believe him. But I want to know he's telling the truth and not, gee, that's kind of, I don't want to be able to go, this guy is saying that aliens have come and we have them, but I don't want to say who my fucking chemistry professor was at MIT. I mean, that's
Is
insanity.
it possible to put it on like a scale where you go, there's a lot weighing on this side? You know what I mean? Yes, the education's this way, but there's a lot also hanging on this side. So maybe there's gray area here. Maybe he did, but or does it have to always be all the way to one side or all the way to the other?
Well, he's either lying or he's not. Like, and if he's lying, what's he lying about? And if he's not, what's he not lying about? That's a big scale. Like, that's a huge scale. It's like saying, I was in Hawaii. And then people go, well, yeah, but you kind of knew what's going on in Hawaii, but not necessarily. And then you realize, oh, there were no flights to Hawaii that month. That's a huge gap in the logic. That's a fucking big one, man. That's not a little one. It's not like he's messing up one date. 2 schools are saying we don't know who this guy is. And he's not coming back with information. It drives me fucking crazy.
But he's lying. But he did pass 5 lie detector tests, and yes, I know that they're flawed and you can get through them. But that's still 5 lie detector tests.
Yes.
He did go
How
under
many did he
hypnosis.
fail? How many did
You know
he
what I
fail?
mean? What's that?
How many did he fail?
He didn't fail any of them. He passed all
That-
5 lie detector tests.
Hold on.
Yeah, but he might have had a thumbtack in his shoe. I heard if you put a thumbtack in your shoe and you just put like your big toe on it, you could pass any lie detector test.
April 30th. I'm looking at this thing. And again, it says Area 51 whistleblower takes a lie detector test. This is, now it's, of course, not loading. But they were saying that Lazar took one and failed.
They're getting to you, Jim. It's not loading.
There never was an internet, Jim. There never was an internet. I haven't seen anything in my Googling as we've been talking about Bob Lazar failing a lie detector test. I see that he passed a whole bunch of them, but I don't see that he failed any.
Okay, then maybe I was just reading that. That may have been incorrect.
But, I haven't seen it. I'm literally Googling as we go, so I'm not sitting here and saying I'm an expert. I'm
Right,
just
yeah.
saying I did not see any report that Bob Lazar failed any lie detector tests.
Okay, maybe he did not. Maybe he did pass them. I read something just a minute ago, but again, I don't know if that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, he went under hypnosis. And again, it's like, what would be the point of lying? He's not profiting from it. He's had his life he claims he's had his life threatened over this. He went hiding after this, and they found him for the documentary. He doesn't want to do any interviews. He did Rogan. He made sure he paid for his flight to go do Rogan because he did not want anything coming back that he's profiting from this in any way.
Uh-huh.
So you have to ask yourself, like, okay, what, like he doesn't want the spotlight. So what would be the point of just lying about the whole thing?
Is it possible that what I'm saying is accurate and that he did kind of have a weird little job there and then stole somebody else's story and then
Stolen
told
valor?
it on the news 30 years ago, and then the lie becomes too big to get out of because he told it before the internet. He told it to a local news station, and then all of a sudden this is who he is. Again, I'm trying to. I can't explain away the schools to myself. We had a guy on the phone who said he could explain the school. I'd love to know what that explanation is. I just can't. I want to find a way to make that right. And if Lazar was giving out the names of people, like professors, I would. All right, maybe this guy and this guy. Oh yeah, he went to school here. I don't know what happened, but yeah. We think the government's going to kill professors for saying that he was a student. I mean, look at the government how badly they're controlling everything else. I mean, especially now, 30 years later.
Let's go to line 2. Let's go to Jimmy in Connecticut. What's going on, Jimmy?
Yeah, hey, Jim, my thing is just if what he's saying is true, this would be one of the most secretive programs in the history of the world. So I just don't think it's completely out of the realm of possibility that he leaves, he starts blabbing, and some, DIA or government agency goes to the schools and says, just this guy didn't exist. Delete all of his records to discredit him.
Right. Now, but I know I sound like I'm being too cynical, but when you say that to a school, who says that to it? Like, take yourself logically one step beyond the statement that sounds interesting. How does that happen? Does somebody go to the dean? Does somebody go to the head of admissions? How do they say it, and what reason do they give? This guy never went here.
That's true. There's a lot of people that you've got
Where'd he go?
I don't know. We didn't hang up on him.
Oh.
No, he hung up.
He got
Yeah,
panicked.
how does that happen? Like, does someone go to the school and go, hi, I represent the U.S. government, and there's a guy
to
named Bob
silence you.
Lazar. But think of it.
Yeah.
These are real people.
Yeah,
This is
of
not a,
course.
this, you don't delete this like a computer, meaning you have to go to a person and get this done. So-and-so says he went to school here. We'd prefer that you take him off the record. Does the school question why? We have tuition payments from this guy. We have a diploma under this guy's name. Like how does that
Well,
happen?
I think you're asking a question, but for somebody that understands the inner workings of the government and how they go after people that are disobeying what their secrecy was. You know what I mean? Like, I have no idea how that would happen, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that, you'd be like, look, this guy is telling government secrets on the news. Like we need this guy to not, we need to discredit this guy. I don't know why that would be such a crazy thought of not being possible. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't make any sense to me.
Because guys who theorize it refuse to really get in there and look at how that would be done. Like, as much
Because we don't
as
because nobody understands how how that works. I don't know how that works. You know what I mean? Like,
You're about
do you
to.
think there's ever been a time where the government has done something to discredit somebody or gone in somewhere?
Sure.
Has that ever? You don't
Of
think
course.
that's ever happened anywhere?
Sure, of course.
So what was saying that couldn't happen in this situation?
Because I want to know how it happens. I didn't say the government's too good to do it. I said, how do you go to MIT and Caltech, two major universities, and tell these people, to tell both universities, two separate sets of individuals, of people, to this guy didn't go to school here, and that's the end of it. And who says okay to that? And how do they get all the professors to stay in line, all the people he went to school with? How do they make it happen with all of these people?
Yeah, I mean, it's.
So the
I don't know.
school just
I don't know.
deletes this
I don't
guy.
know. I just don't understand how the government works.
Right,
Well,
so
I
the
do know
school-
that it is possible to scare people. I know that is a possibility to talk.
Okay, so the school is willing to delete this guy, knowing he has a diploma. That he
Are
can
these
just hold
schools
up.
government funded at all?
Right.
Maybe they say we're going to cut any sort of funding if you don't
So-
eliminate this guy from your records. Is that a possibility?
Okay, but who? No, but who says that? To
But see,
who?
I don't know. I don't know the inner workings of I don't know that Dave from this branch of the government comes over and says something
And says
you
it
know
to
what I mean? Like,
the
Is
head,
that
of, the head of admissions?
Uncle Dave?
I mean, do you say yeah? Yeah, he molests it out of you. I know, we can go in circles all day. I just don't buy it. I'm sorry. I want to, and I know
I
I'm
hear
being a dick, but hey, the reality is these are real simple things to fix. These are not crazy things I'm asking, and he's just refusing to give the
I don't
names
know
of
if he's
people.
refusing.
And
I just
watched
don't know
him
if
explain it.
those questions have been asked to him. I don't know if he's refusing.
I watched him explain it, and I didn't believe his explanation. I got a headache. Come on. What the fuck? Come on, dude. I got a headache.
migraine.
Come on.
Could be cigarette smoking man. I mean, I would think cigarette smoking man is probably the one that goes in and tells you we're going to defund you unless you delete this guy.
It's just, you know how.
Sam, you don't think
companies
that's a
work.
possibility? You don't think that?
Me?
Yeah. Do you think that if the government wanted to silence somebody for blabbing top secret information, do you think it's possible that they can intimidate and tell people that they do not know this guy, and that this is a security breach of security and to not acknowledge this guy anymore. Do you think that that's a possibility?
Do I think that that concept is possible? Yeah. Yes. Yes, I think
so. It's not a crazy thing to say that is a possibility.
It's not out of the realm of possibility. I think, conceptually saying that could that happen in existence, I would say yeah. And, as more stuff, especially from like the 50s and the 60s and all that stuff starts to get declassified and you start to realize that how much of what the quote-unquote crazies were saying was actually like 100% happening, you start going like, oh, this stuff was really happening. I actually think that there's probably less of it happening now because it's so much more difficult to maintain secrecy now than then. But, in the late 80s, it was a lot easier to maintain secrecy than now. So, I would say that, yeah, of course that's possible. And there's documented, history of the government doing some super shady stuff.
Sam, do you think that the government can intimidate people to not talk about things?
Today, I mean, yes.
No,
yes.
Whatever. Just today.
In general. In
1989?
Yeah. Yeah. That is a thing that could happen. Yeah. 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 I'll tell you, I mean, look, if I would be just as I'm trying to think to myself, would I be more surprised to find out that there were no aliens or to find out that there were aliens? And I don't mean in existence. I mean in a warehouse. And I feel like I would be less surprised to find out that there were crashed alien ships in a warehouse than I would be to find out that there were not. If I found out that there were no alien things ever and there's never been a UFO or anything like that, I'd go like this. Really? But if I found out that at some point there has been some kind of, outside of this planet contact, I go like this. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He, by the way, he's still not, he cannot name a single one of his professors. And apparently he didn't have great grades in high school. Is that correct?
Yeah, I
I'm
think,
not sure.
If I remember, I'm looking at something. I just don't know if it's true. But
in his defense, I can't remember a single college professor.
Let me see.
No, but you're also not a level of genius claiming to have been hired to work on propulsion systems.
Yeah.
But you would remember your friends, right? Guys that you must have had some. Plus, you didn't go to college for 8 years.
If I had some, yeah.
Or did
You
you
didn't
go
have
for
any
6
friends.
People
I
wanted to know.
had roommates. He was
Plus,
a juggalo.
I mean, to be fair, Travis, you had a juggalo roommate?
Yes.
That's awesome. By the way, we won't get into it, but my in my exploration of Chris Hansen, he called him Shaggy to dope. I swear to God, he did it multiple times. So we won't even. But I would say that Travis is not a great example of being able to remember things because there are sometimes in our lives traumatic things happen, and we actually condition ourselves to not remember people that we interacted with in the past, no matter how close they were to us.
Yeah.
So Travis is probably not the best example without putting a spotlight on any specific traumatic incidents that ended with the screeching of car tires. We won't.
Let's see.
Yeah, I could probably remember 2 or 3 of my school teachers. I don't even, and I just forgot their name.
Question. I'm sitting here trying to think. Yeah, that is a great question. I feel like I would have more of an effort to remember college professors' names if there was some doubt. Like if people were like, you never went to Syracuse, I'd be like, I had all these professors, and people were like, name one. I feel like then I would be motivated to remember one more, but I am having trouble remembering one professor's name right now, which is really insulting to the professors.
You went to they said you went to 2 schools and you couldn't remember one, and you couldn't remember any friends, and the school had no record of you going. I mean, come on.
Although I watched Bob Lazar do that interview, and the idea that he had no friends is not. That's not crazy to me.
I know.
He could just be embarrassed. Like it's a little embarrassing.
I just didn't believe him.
Yeah, but it is a little embarrassing when somebody goes like, well, can you name any of your friends? To be like, I didn't have any. So, I mean, you know, you could probably see where he'd be saying, no, I don't remember any of their names. That's like what you tell your mom, you know, when your mom goes, well, did you make any friends? And then you go, yeah, I made a lot of friends. What are their names? Oh, I don't remember. It's because you don't want to admit you don't have any friends.
Yeah. I mean, when you're 8.
And that could be the lie. Maybe Bob Lazar is just lying about not having friends.
Yeah. Or maybe he didn't go to MIT, or maybe he didn't go
That's
to Caltech,
possible too. That's also a possibility
and
for
lied
sure.
to get a government job and got a government job and had access, limited access to this area that was amazing, and was friends with somebody who worked there, and all of a sudden heard this amazing shit and picked up a lot of because that guy, what was his name, Stanley Friedman,
Morgan Friedman?
Not Morgan Friedman, no, that was the actor. I was
okay.
going to say something brutal, and I decided to make a left turn.
Good for you.
Something Friedman is the guy who would debunk him all the time, who thought he was bullshit. I think the guy died, unfortunately. But there's a lot of guys that thought he was full of shit. A lot of guys in that world who were smart guys who thought he was lying.
Yeah, I'll say as much as I do believe that people in groups can be intimidated into silence, and not even encouraged into silence. You know, there could be deals made where silence will be given, and they know they can't break them. At the same time, there are also plenty of people that have lied about colleges they've went to, jobs they've had. You know, people definitely. If Bob Lazar said that in 1989, you know, the schooling and stuff would have had to happen in the 70s at the latest, right? At least in the 70s. So I think in the 70s there were plenty of people that were lying about schooling and previous employment and stuff like that as well. So certainly not out of the realm of possibilities.
Yeah, I just people
Look,
want to
I'm like
believe
Neil
this guy
deGrasse
so
Tyson.
bad. They want to believe
Just
him.
get one of Bob Lazar's professors, tie him up by the ankles, drag him into the town square. Show me the professor. That's all. Just
It's
show me
really
the
not a
professor in the
hard
middle
thing
of the
to
town
ask.
square.
For someone
No, it
to,
shouldn't
by the
be.
way, college professors, all of these guys, and I'm not saying they'd all remember him either, because he was probably just a nondescript student. So as much as they tell the government to go fuck themselves, and as much as they say basically whatever they want, you're going to tell me that all of them are afraid one of them won't come out and go, I went to school with this guy. Of course I did. Not one person is coming out saying, I remember this guy from school. Not one.
That's true.
I mean, come on. So that makes no sense to anybody, that not one person who could be a part of this story. And you see the way people that, I mean, the fucking government couldn't keep Fauci from running his fucking mouth. They must so not one person would come out after hearing this. They've all been intimidated, hundreds of them that would not go, yeah, I remember this dude. I remember him from chemistry. I saw him every day.
Jim, let's say in high school there was a guy that went out and was the guy you knew went out and was screaming government secrets. You knew he was all over the news. You knew the government was after him, and nobody was coming to his defense to be like, I know this guy. Would you be the only guy that comes forward and is like, hey, guess what? I know this guy. He's not lying.
No, but the lying part is just I went to school with him. Sure, I remember him from school. He was kind of a weird guy. I didn't talk to him. There's
Why
a
would
lot of people.
I would think you just wouldn't want any association with him. I'd just be like, I do not want to get involved in this story whatsoever.
As much as people like talking to cameras and being famous and giving their opinions, I mean, come on. You think that one or two people wouldn't come out and want to be a part of this story just to go, I remember the guy from school? No one's asking them to confirm his UFO shit, but like one of them wouldn't come out and go, yeah, I went to school with him.
Yeah, I disagree with that. I think that people would, I'd be like,
if I say he went to school with me, the government's going to kill me?
No, just to be associated with it. You know, why, you know, if this is a real security issue and, you know, well, I wouldn't want to be associated with that. I would just stay far away from it.
So every single one of them is afraid to say, like, I could see if there's a couple of them, but every professor in 2 different schools and every student who he might have known in 2 different schools over the period of 5 years, 6 years, every one of them is afraid to go, yeah, I went to school with him.
I mean, like I said, you wouldn't do it, would you? If you were the only one, if you were like, you know what, I'm going to be the lone soldier. I'm going to get up and I'm going to say, I know this guy. Would you do that?
I don't see why I wouldn't, because saying you know somebody is not, I'm not co-signing his Area 51 stuff.
Yeah, but now you're involved with government, blabbing government, all over the news and whatnot. So I don't know why anybody would want to be associated with that.
because there's a lot of people. You're saying that in a college environment, there's not one person that would want to tell the government to go fuck themselves. There's not one professor who'd want to tell the government to go fuck themselves. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. This is a large group of people, and not one of them will stand up and simply say, sure, I went to school with him. That's all.
Yeah, I don't know. I disagree. I don't think that people would want to get involved with that. I think if you saw that on the news, I don't think and nobody else is coming forward. I do not think that you or I or anybody here would go, you know what? Let me stand up for this guy.
But that's not
especially
even
when
standing
he's
up for
being
him.
portrayed as a nut.
Yeah, but right,
With a
exactly.
headache.
So just saying you went to school with a person is not co-signing what he is saying. Saying the guy went to school with me is literally just saying, yeah, we went to school together. Who people
but
admit going to school with working with Ted Bundy. They admit all this.
No, but if that's if that's the hole in his story, if the hole in the story is he didn't go and he's going the government. If he's saying the government erased my school records, and you're saying, oh, I went to school with him, you're not just saying, oh, I went to school with him. You're saying, I went to school with him, which in turn means that I would say that it's fairly likely that the government erased his records.
Right, which is like saying there's not one person in that situation, not one that is willing to say, go fuck yourself to the government. And we all know that's just not true. I mean, all those college students and professors, and not one of them will say he went to school with them. I mean, that makes more sense to people than he's lying.
Yeah, I disagree with that. I think people would not want to get involved with that. I think people would want to stay far away from that. I think people have families. They have their own lives. They do not want to get involved with this guy's nonsense.
Okay. All right.
Line 7. Let's go to, because there's a lot of people. That is a lot of people to all feel that way. Let's go to Corey in Rockland. What's up, Corey?
Hey, guys. Good morning.
Hi,
I think what the government would just do is, because usually a president of a college or university is already very well connected, they would just pay, especially back then, they would just pay him off, and the college would get very big endowments or grants, and then he would have the power to make all that stuff disappear and call it a day.
So he would have
Let
the
it
power.
trickle
Now, would he
downhill.
go to other people? Now, would he go to someone and say, listen, I'd like you to delete this person from our records?
He might go to a very well-trusted person who works, a right-hand person who might take a little bit of a cut and go, okay, we have to make this disappear, no more questions, and onward and upward, and that's it.
Okay.
That's all. And next thing you know, the college is getting all kinds of grants. He's, making
It
all
does
kinds
not,
of new
but
money.
that doesn't explain, like, having those two people just erased from the record.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I think Jim's problem is not that he's gone from the record. Jim's problem is that all the people that he interacted with would have to all
not
line
true.
up. So, like,
They didn't erase all those people. It's not true.
Right.
I want it to be true.
You don't know that it's not true, though. You're
Yes,
just
I do,
speculating it's
Troy.
not true.
They didn't
No, you don't.
erase. They didn't tell hundreds of fucking people to just, especially in college, come on.
it's a lot of people to line up.
People want
That's
to believe him so bad that they're overlooking this basic giant hole. This is not me
Because
nitpicking.
there's a lot proving on the other side, though. That's why people want to believe.
No,
it.
it's not. There's a lot of things that he could have heard from somebody else that, that sounds right. Here's what's provable. He cannot produce one person to say he went to school with him.
So
That's
how
what's
come
it's like-
they just don't. How come news?
Go ahead, Corey.
Doesn't go to find people the years he went to school with and start asking people, hey, did you go to? You should have been in the same class with him and all that type of stuff.
Right.
Track down those people. And see what they
Exactly.
say.
Why hasn't that been done by all of these people who want to believe him? You tell me people can't just pick up a yearbook and track some people down that would have been in his class of 89? You're right. All these sleuths, what are these people scared too to just call people from the that doesn't make sense
DMV
either.
does it all the time.
You're right. Why didn't anybody, like, especially in this day and age, all the
Thank you,
people,
Corey.
Later, guys.
Okay, buddy. No one is coming forward, and no one is tracking down people that he probably went to school with.
Yeah, and not to mention, not everybody knows who Bob Lazar is. So if you just
100%.
like, you could easily find somebody who's like, oh yeah, I remember that guy. Like, I didn't know who Bob Lazar was until Troy started talking about him, and I guarantee,
until
like,
Troy
everybody that
started
went to
saying-
school doesn't either.
Right, but
Until Troy
somebody
started
might
talking about how he's
remember.
bullshit.
Somebody.
That's right.
Now, I know that most people, again, he might have been a nondescript guy, and I'm not saying this, I shouldn't say hundreds of people, but there are people who somebody would remember him. And it's not like, hey, there's like 3 or 4 people saying, I remember that guy. 2 from this school, 3 from that school, 5 people. Okay.
Yeah,
One
I agree. The
professor.
school stuff is hard to get around.
One professor, 4 student. I'm not saying why haven't they all stood up, but not one of them. That doesn't make sense to anybody. I mean, you can't look past that. That's a major thing.
Wouldn't it be great if you went up to somebody who didn't know the story and was just like, "Hey, you went to school with Bob Lazar, right?" And they're like, "Yeah, I did."
Yeah, I remember Bob. Sure.
And and then they all of a sudden they got wrapped up in this big government story. Like, wait, what? I didn't realize all this was going on. Yeah, it's a lot of people. Like I don't think that the issue is not how could he have been erased from the record books? How could there not be a list of him there? That's an easy one to figure out. The problem is that the interacting that you do on a college campus, you interact with a lot of people, man, on a college campus. A lot of people. And there are people who know you that you don't even know. There's somebody in your class. Lazar is a weird name. Oh, I remember that. There's a weirdo. We called him Laser. You know what I mean? Like, there's all kinds of weird little things that people would remember. And it's a lot. It's a lot of people to fall in line for 2 schools to say, yeah, none of us remember him.
Yeah, and by the way, that's exactly it. And how many people who are supposedly so afraid of the government, look what happened with JFK. How many people came forward, whether or not they're telling the truth or not. Look at how many people have stories about that. Look at how many people are willing to talk about that. I mean, a lot of people. So to say that you went to school with a guy and not one person after all these years would have went, fuck that, I went to school with this guy. This is one of the biggest stories in human history. It makes no sense to me.
Well, I mean, I don't know if we want to go down this road, but there was a lot of intimidation involved with people that came forward with information about JFK. There's a lot of stuff that people came forward with that did not make it into the Warren Commission. So, I don't know if that's a good example, but I mean, I don't want to go down this road today, but you know what I mean?
Troy, go ahead. Go ahead, Troy. You're on the right.
No, we don't have to. And this is not me trusting the government. This is just me. I can't get beyond
just logic.
Again,
I hear you. Yeah, no, I hear
it's
you.
a big one, and it's an impossible place for me to cross. And I want to believe this guy because if he's telling the truth, his story is amazing. But a story like this has to hold up.
You don't have to. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a fun story. It's a fun documentary, and no one's life depends on it. Just who cares?
Here's Mike.
Mike in New Orleans, you're right. I apologize. We do keep having this debate, and we have to stop. It's been in the news, and it was raised.
No, yeah, it came up. I think it's worth having the discussion again. And yeah, what's up, Mike?
Friedman did investigate Bob Lazar. His high school grades, like MIT only takes like the top 3% of the class, and Bob Lazar was like towards the end and all this shit. And he may have worked at Area 51. Even the janitors got to have security clearance and stuff to get in there. He probably did hear the story from somebody else and, made it his own.
That makes
it's
the most
tough
sense
to argue
me.
This stuff.
That makes the most sense to me is that he heard the stories from someone else and he kind of sponged into the story because that gives some credence to the fact that there's stuff there that's alien. And it helps me understand how did this guy's lie. How is he lying?
Is a hell of an investigator and shit. And if he
all right.
shit on Bob Lazar, it wouldn't have happened, man. But
okay, thank you, buddy.
All the time, and Troy's never going to change his opinion and never give good responses to why, they're
Troy, why can't you be more like Mike in New Orleans, Troy? Why can't you do it?
Thank you, Mike. Yeah,
thank you, buddy.
That guy Friedman, I forget the guy's first name. I want to say Sydney, but that was the guy from MASH. That was the fucking psychologist in MASH. I think he's dead too.
Look, Jim, you're right. JFK
Stanton.
blown away. What else do I have to say?
Stanton Friedman.
Nick in Arizona on line 7. What is going on, Nick?
Hey, good morning, guys. Hey, I
bud.
had a little theory here that kind of co-signs a little bit of what Jim is saying about him. Not exactly lying about this, but it could be that he's protecting somebody. So taking a good friend or somebody he used to see who he really cares about actually had the information. So he obtained it either through nefarious ways or they went up flat out and told him. Now, they have a clearance and they have non-disclosure they had to sign, so they could get in trouble if they got caught. Government can't really go after him if he releases it because he had never swore to anything, didn't actually work at this facility. So he just goes into hiding because he actually cares about this person to cover both of their tracks. They can intimidate him, they can follow him around, but they can't really do anything because technically he didn't break any laws. But somehow he got this information, and if the government really wanted him, there is no hiding from the government. So I think it's intimidation. If he does know this stuff and it has been that accurate, then he probably got it from somebody and wants to protect them because they could be in trouble if it's found out that it was released to him.
That makes more sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
That makes more sense to me. And that fills a lot of holes, that he had a security clearance for a small job there. And again, 30 years ago, blabbed, oh my God, started talking, and then it just becomes who he is. And he would probably love to go, look, this is not, but he can't after a certain point. It's like if you tell a girl something when you're dating her, and then all of a sudden it's like you don't think it's ever going to go anywhere. Like, yeah, I'm just going to fuck this girl twice. Then all of a sudden you're getting married. And she's like, so really? Your uncle? You're like, oh, fuck. I've told her this lie that I can't get out. That makes much more sense to me, is that he took someone else's story, either just to show off because he had the knowledge, or maybe for whatever reason. That is easier for me to swallow, that there's truth to that story, but it's coming a bit secondhand from somebody else.
And it's not always so nefarious and like he's living this lie that he's aware of. There are people who start to lie and they end up in these circles of denial where they completely lose touch with reality, where they start to actually believe the story that they're telling. And they start to think that this story that they adopted as their own is actually their own story. That happens.
And actually, that's sociopathic. And if you look at who passes polygraph, a lot of people who are honest fail them, but sociopaths have a history of passing them at amazingly high numbers.
Yeah.
So there's credence to that too.
Yeah, I mean, passing a lie, that's why you can't use them in court. Either it's compelling, though. Like when someone can pass a lie detector test or fail one, it definitely says something, but it's not proof, but it's like, it definitely makes you lean in the direction of, okay, that person at least believes they're telling the truth.
Well, thanks, bud.
Anyway,
Thank you very much.
Have a good morning.
Well, I hope we get to the bottom of this. I hope we get some
nothing
UFO
lights
information.
The phones up like UFO talk.
UFO talk is great.
Nothing gets people going more.
Every time I watch these UFO shows, it's the same for me. It's always like I'm super excited in the very beginning, and I'm watching, and I'm like, this is great. I'm like, oh, shit, I got all this information now. Oh, this is what was really going on. And then I think UFO shows should be like 10 minutes. Because, after that first like wave of endorphins kicks in where you're having a good time, you start to go, oh, these people are nuts, and a lot of this is bullshit.
And they have nothing.
Oh, I see. Like I was watching that Unsolved Mysteries UFO thing. And like in the very beginning, I was like, oh shit, all these people got abducted. And then, by the time they're halfway in and there's some grown-ass man rolling around on the grass to show what happened to him when he was a kid, I'm like, what the hell are we watching now? What is this?
It all
trying to paint a picture, Sam.
I see.
It all falls apart. This is not one person that can just say, this is what happened. Yep, I went to school here. Not one person can give a logical. That's what drives me crazy, because the things that fall apart don't need to fall apart.
But, that's also because if somebody just goes, look, I just saw this thing, then they're expected to be able to explain it. And just because you see something doesn't mean you can explain a thing. This doesn't explain Bob Lazar in any way, shape, or form, because he is supposed to be able to explain the stuff. But
he's a scientist. Yeah, scientists are supposed to be able to explain stuff.
100%. But when you're just a person who just sees the thing, I saw a thing in the sky, or I took this video, or this thing was moving fast, or, I got abducted and now I'm rolling around on the grass, or whatever it is. It's because the rest of us know so little, we go to you as the person who's the expert, and 9 times out of 10, you're not fit to be an expert on anything because it's just a thing that happened that you saw. Like, you don't have all those answers.
Right. And doesn't he sound to you like a guy who knows details, but the way he can't explain certain things is exactly how you would behave if it was someone else's story you were telling. You would know certain bullet points that you could explain, but then there's a lot of gaps I was walking by and I saw them. I looked into a room and I saw a little creature on a chair.
Yeah, that's the one hole in the one story that even on the George Knapp and the brought up with Jeremy Corbyn was like Rogan even said that like this is a hole in this story.
Yeah,
but like I said, man, I mean, it's just one of those things where like he definitely knows a lot of things. It's hard for me as much it is for you to say that the government would ever intimidate anybody to not.
But
talk
I never said that.
to,
No, but I didn't say that.
It's that hard for me to. It's that hard for me to.
Troy, I didn't say the government wouldn't intimidate somebody. I never said that. I actually agreed with you that you said have they ever. I said yes, of course they have. I agree with you.
But you said it was not possible in this situation.
No, I said
there's no way that they would go and say you did not go to school here, right?
No, do I think that they said that? Could the government say that to Bob Lazar? Sure.
Or to erase records in a school?
Do I believe that they were able to pull that off in MIT and Caltech and get the professors and get the dean of admissions and get any school records? No, I don't believe they pulled that off. And I don't believe if he's trying to prove a case that he couldn't at least show that he went to school. No, I don't believe that.
Do you think there's any possibility he could have lied about going to those schools so he could get that job?
Yes. I don't know what the record check was. The problem I would have with that is even in 89 before the internet, the government did a little bit of checking. And to give you security clearance like that, I don't believe that they gave him security clearance so fast. I just don't believe that that's how they work. They're not morons. They're smart enough to keep Area 51 a secret, but dumb enough to give security clearance to a guy who's going to blab about it and who didn't go to school where he said he went to school. I mean, that's hard for me too.
I have a hard time wrapping my head around that he would just hear somebody's story and know all this stuff 30 years ahead, and now all this stuff is coming true and be like, no, he heard this story from somebody and is just telling the story and he doesn't even want to be in the spotlight. He wants nothing to do with it.
Well,
like that to me doesn't make any sense.
If he was telling someone's story, doesn't that make sense? Like maybe that guy had real information and that would explain why there's holes.
Maybe at that time, but why wouldn't you just disappear? Like, why would you now be going on Rogan and doing a documentary about yourself if it was all just nonsense 30 years later? Wouldn't you just be like, oh, look, I'm going to slide under the radar and I want nothing to do with any of this anymore. I was caught in a lie and I want to get away from it. You know what I mean? So that's a whole where I'm having a hard time I get hung up on.
Well, the fact that he wouldn't let
what would be the
Rogan
point
fly
of that,
him out,
you know?
the fact that he wouldn't,
What's that?
The fact that he insists on paying for his own flight is also odd to me. Like this way, no one can say that's odd.
But he's not profiting from anything. He's not made any money on the documentary. He didn't want anything for it. You know what I mean? It's like, well, why would somebody put themselves through this? That's where I get hung up on. I don't know why anybody would ever want to be involved in this after so many years.
How come you think that's odd, Jim? What is it? What kind of suspicions does it raise when you say he flew himself?
Not just that, but the idea of I will take zero. It almost is like because I know that what I'm saying is not true. Almost like I know that if I start taking things for it, then I've taken this one step further. Like the lie is the lie and I'm caught up in it and it is what it is, but I have not profited and I've taken nothing for it. Like no one can ever come and go, and you expect, it's almost like he knows that he's in this lie, and that's my opinion at least. He knows in this lie and he doesn't want to fucking start accepting monetary things for it because then you're opening up a whole nother can of worms. Then you're putting yourself into a whole nother line of shitty behavior. Right now it's just information. But
then just disappear. Why would you want somebody to do a whole documentary on you?
Maybe the guy bugged him.
It's nonsense.
Maybe he didn't want to admit to that. I don't know why he agreed to that. I really don't know why. I don't have an answer for that. I don't know. But I know that why ask certain questions. Does he get a headache? I mean, this is the mind that they took out of MIT. My head hurts. My head hurts. Come on. My fucking head hurts during an interview.
It is possible to get a headache. You can't say that. That's not a possibility. I mean, if you're talking about this on a huge podcast, you haven't talked about it in 30 years, it is possible for the guy to get a headache.
I'm not saying you couldn't get a headache, but I'm saying if it stops the flow of the interview,
you could push through.
I mean, the guy's not a skilled interviewer. You know what I mean? Like he hasn't probably done an interview in 30 years.
You don't need to be a skilled interviewee to not get a headache during certain key parts of questions. I mean, come on. That doesn't strike you as odd. That's not fishy. The fact that the way he answered those questions. I mean, come on, man. That didn't strike you as like,
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, that was a convincing interview to you?
Okay, how about this? If we had an intern, right? If we had an intern in here, and this intern's never, been on the air twice or whatever, and we started like pressing them on something because we thought they did something. Let's say it's when I lost my camera, right? And we brought in an intern, right? And I was like, well, you were the last person in the studio. When did you do this? And the intern started going, hang on a second. I got a headache. We wouldn't be sitting there going like, well, he's not a skilled interviewee, and this is a high-pressure situation, and people get headaches. We'd be sitting there going, this guy is bullshitting us right now.
Yeah, he's bullshitting.
That's what we'd say to that intern.
I don't know. It's a fun topic to discuss, though. Yeah.
I love it. And I'm so glad that it came back up.
Yeah,
and I hope that it continues to come back up. They're drip
with all
feeding,
this stuff in the news.
Yeah, it tends to keep coming up. They keep drip feeding.
Yeah.
So it's going to get, the little stories are going to keep leaking, but it's so funny. Like a colonel. And, Joe Rogan being so popular, I think, has a lot to do with this, really popularizing this UFO thing. But a kernel of alien stuff comes out in the New York Times on Friday. And it's got people in a tizzy for a week, like to the point where all day Monday, people are like, where the fuck is this information? This was supposed to be out today.
Yeah.
It is funny to me, though, to think about Bob Lazar not taking a free flight to prove that he's telling the truth, and then to have to turn on the radio and hear Jim going, actually, that makes me think he's lying even more. And he'd be like, oh, you fuck. I should have just taken the free flight then. Damn it.
That's personally how I would interpret that. Again, only because it's so crazy. Not even that he was offered a flight, but it's so... I understand not wanting to profit, though. Like, I do get that. And if that was... I wouldn't even be questioning that if his school records weren't deleted. There's just too many things for me to get by. And I want to believe the guy. I really want to believe the guy very much.
Look, I think we got to the bottom of it. I think that we're all on the same page now, and I'm glad that we kind of hashed it all out.
Hey,
I could honestly have this exact same conversation every morning.
It was long overdue.
It's one of those things we're never going to figure it out, but it does keep popping up, and there are elements of it that are very interesting to me. Like I want this. I want someone to be able to shut me up. Like I truly do. Like I want someone to go, no, this is why this is this. Because the idea of me being right, who gives a fuck? If he's telling the truth, there's aliens. Like that's a much bigger truth and a much more important thing. But I just can't get beyond this fucking giant moat around it. And it's a huge moat. It's not a small thing. It's giant. And there's a couple of them. That's it. I want to be proven wrong. I truly do.
Love it. Love it. Well, look, I want to be able to talk to Mark Norman, and that is something that is going to come true for all of us today. We've got him on the show. He's coming up.
That's a worse segue than
in a little
Clarice
bit.
Starling tried to use. It won't do. Maybe you could give us your view on Yeah, we got Mark on now. What time is he on? But 20 minutes?
Yeah. He's on in just a few minutes. So we're going to take a break. We're going to come back with Mark Norman.
Yeah.
We're going to figure out if aliens are real. Stay right there. We'll be right back.
It's Jim Norton and Sam Roberts. Social distancing. We'll be right back.
Hey, it's Jim Norton and Sam Roberts.
We're here live in the morning throughout quarantine, Jim.
Tons of material on the Sirius XM app. If you don't have it, get it.
I mean, there's full shows, audio and video, interviews, segments, everything we're talking about. You can see it and hear it with the Sirius XM app.
Yeah, so if you don't have it at this point, you're pretty much stupid. And what else are you doing? Go get it. We're here live. Go watch it.
Search us out, Jim Norton and Sam Roberts on the Sirius XM app.
Or don't.
Hi, this is Edge.
This is Adam Clayton of U2.
We have our own radio station, Adam.
It's a beautiful day.
And
opportunity to get into new kinds of trouble.
Exclusive shows from the band.
Bono calling Chris Rock. I feel most at home on stage in front of 3,000 of your closest friends. It's great to have a direct line to the world in these strange times.
We will be playing a lot of U2 music and music that has inspired us.
U2X Radio, Channel 32, and on the SiriusXM app.
What if you could pay for tolls with your phone and breeze through electronic lanes without having to exchange cash? Introducing PayTolo, a cashless payment app for toll roads. Simply download the app, register your vehicle, activate your account, and drive. Manage your transactions right from your phone with no extra parts required. Use discount code SiriusXM for $5 in toll credits when you sign up at paytolo.com/SXM. Availability varies by state. Check to see if your state's covered. Check out paytolo.com/SXM to learn more.
In today's environment, business owners are discovering every day that their insurance doesn't cover things like COVID-19, active shooters, or losses caused by riots and looting. And to make things worse, these same business owners often become the victims of frivolous lawsuits. At X Insurance, we offer custom commercial liability policies that cover almost anything that may be a potential problem for business owners, no matter the risk or history. And in the event that you become the target of unscrupulous lawyers, we aggressively fight them on your behalf. We're the very best at what we do, and we've been doing it for more than 40 years. We offer same-day quotes and solutions. So call us today, or have your agent call us, and we can work with them to fill any gaps in your existing insurance policy. Regardless, let's make sure your exposure is eliminated, and that your business stays in business. For more information, visit xinsurance.com. That's xinsurance.com.
This one is for the guys. I'm Amy Errett, founder and CEO of Madison Reed. I'm proud to announce Madison Reed Mr. Hair Color for Men, and one of our first users, Matt, to tell you more.
No one knows I color my hair. That's how natural looking this is. I use it on my beard, too. It blends away gray in 10 minutes. Super easy, do it before you shower. It's less gray and more me. Definitely not a shoe polish look. I told all my friends about it. Everybody's hooked.
Delivered straight to your door. We know you love your hair. We do too. That's why our formula is free of ammonia and full of good stuff to keep your hair protected. It's the world's best men's hair color that you've never seen. That's just how discreet it truly is. Find your shade at MadisonReedMister.com and get 10% off plus free shipping on your first kit. Use code PEPPER. That's code PEPPER.
You own a timeshare, and it's the time of the year for eye-popping maintenance fees arriving in your mailbox. Oh, this is ridiculous. Is it really worth all that? Still having fun? That's it. I'm out. Timeshare Freedom Group is ready to help you escape your timeshare money pit. Let us help free you from your overpriced, useless, money-draining timeshare. Start the freedom process now. Call us at 866-241-CANCEL. 866-241-CANCEL.
Let's talk about Dish. I love talking about Dish, as you know. All right, make sure I got the right dish read. Yes, I do. If you record TV, you probably need a better DVR. Everybody complains about the stuff getting deleted. That's why you should get Dish. It's TV's most powerful DVR. It's basically a master multitasker because it'll record up to 16 shows at once. 16. You ever try doing 16 things at once? You'd probably have a meltdown. But the Hopper, yep, it'll record so many shows. No meltdowns. And by meltdown, I mean that thing that's like... recording conflict. Good luck getting that from the Hopper. So now, instead of wasting time rescheduling recordings, you can work on the art of multitasking, like nodding while saying no, or texting while walking, or things of that nature. Just know that no matter what skills you master, the Hopper's got you beat. Record up to 16 shows at once. Just another reason Dish is ranked #1 in customer satisfaction by J.D. Power. For J.D. Power 2019 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards to learn more. Dial 1-844, call Dish, visit dish.com, or just find a local retailer near you.
Royalty reigns with limited edition SiriusXM channels from Prince, Queen, and the King of Pop, Michael Jackson. explore these channels and more now through August 13th. On the SiriusXM app. For more information, go to SiriusXM.com/new channels.
Biena was stuck in a timeshare she didn't want.
There is a bunch of restrictions and you cannot get what you want for a vacation. That's crazy.
It was much more expensive than she was told.
I might as well save that money and go to a vacation at the end of the year without a timeshare.
She called Timeshare Freedom Group.
They definitely know how to earn your trust because they follow through with what they say.
And when it was all over,
Timeshare Freedom Group told me, congratulations, we were able to get you out of your timeshare. I was jumping up and down, screaming. I was like, oh my God.
Timeshare Freedom Group has guided thousands of people just like Biena through the freedom process. If you're ready to escape your timeshare,
call Timeshare Freedom Group and start the freedom process. You won't be sorry.
Call now, 866-241-CANCEL. That's 866-241-CANCEL. 866-241-CANCEL. TimeshareFreedomGroup.com.
Timeshare Freedom Group, we set you free.
Are you drowning in IRS tax debt?
I owe the IRS $37,000.
Get ready for a toll-free hotline. Take advantage of new IRS tax forgiveness programs that may protect you from IRS collection agencies. They have the power to garnish your wages, put liens on your property, and levy your bank account. Civic Tax Relief can help protect you from the IRS.
Civic Tax Relief basically represented me against the IRS, and by the time everything was completed, I didn't owe the IRS anything.
Find out about the Fresh Start program that is now available through Civic Tax Relief. Civic Tax Relief's special tax hotline can help you discover all the relief programs available for free.
I would recommend anyone who has a tax problem to contact Civic Tax Relief.
Just call 800-324-4522. 800-324-4522. Don't wait. Call now. 800-324-4522. 800-324-4522.
I've always had a problem with sweaty hands.
I hate having sweaty feet. I was walking in a puddle of sweat.
It was just stressful. I dreaded situations where I'd have to shake hands or give a high five.
Carpe makes such a difference.
Hi, I'm David.
And I'm Casper. We're the co-founders of Carpe.
We had sweaty hands and feet and couldn't find a simple solution to keep them dry. That's why we created Carpe, a hand and foot antiperspirant for people who don't just sweat under their arms.
Carpe antiperspirant lotion was created to help you stop sweat and reclaim your confidence. It's easy to use and designed for sweaty hands and feet. Just rub and dab to keep sweat away.
I haven't had sweaty hands in 2 years since I started using Carpe. This makes my life so much less slippery. Honestly, just completely changed my life.
It just makes me feel more confident.
Try Carpe for yourself or get it for someone you know. Go to your local CVS or Target store today and find Carpe in the deodorant aisle. With Carpe, you can make sweaty hands and feet a thing of the past. Go to your local store and try it today.
Yes, let me get to the Roman read. I just got back. I was discussing my erection difficulties with somebody. It was a really uncomfortable conversation. It's very difficult to talk about your erectile problem. There's no guy who wants to discuss it. We do when we're pressed to. We always make up excuses, or we act like we're not in the mood, or we're too tired, or the pressure of work is getting to us. But the reality is it's just not easy to discuss the fact that we're having issues and we're uncomfortable. We avoid it. With Roman, it's easy to talk about with a real doctor who can prescribe real medication. See, it's simple, it's safe, and it's totally discreet, which takes out the embarrassment factor. With Roman, you can get a free online evaluation and ongoing care for erectile dysfunction, all from the comfort and privacy of your own home. So your penis is embarrassing you, talk to someone discreetly and just begin to work on it. The doctor is going to work with you to find the best treatment plan and if medication is appropriate. But Roman will ship it to you, free 2-day shipping. The whole process is straightforward, discreet. Getting started is really simple. All you got to do is go to getroman.com/TEFT, T-E-F-F-T, and complete an online visit. Erectile dysfunction used to be tough to tackle, but now there's Roman. You complete an online visit today to connect with a doctor and take care of it. Go to getroman.com/TEFT today. If approved, you're going to get $15 off your first order of ED treatment, erection problems. That's nice. $15 off. GetRoman.com/TEFT.
Broadcasting live from quarantine. We are back with Jim Norton and Sam Roberts Show.
So hit her with a trash can and ran like hell. And he took
You
out
can't hit a
her
woman with a trash can.
Yeah, he took out 2 things and recut them. I guess they sounded shittier. There was that one. There might have been one in Parents Don't Understand, or there might have been 2 in that song. I was like, it was just a silly...
Wow, he knew cancel culture was coming. He said, 20 years from now, I'll be trying to do Men in Black 60. And people will be like, he used to hit women with trash cans? No, it was a lyric.
It's such an unbelievably silly... I do love rappers. Like, I really do. Like, I respect the fact that the people have tried to cancel rappers, but they turn around and they just go, fuck you. And they keep doing what they do.
Yeah, that's the
why
only way to
nobody
get
goes
around
after
it.
them. Because you can't. Because they don't give a fuck. They don't
You're
care.
not going to win.
About some fucking upset white girl on a computer. They're like, oh, fuck yourself.
Right. Because I just put out a hit, and it's like, okay. I mean, the stuff we've forgiven other people for, we can, yeah, you can't get canceled. If you got hits, just put out the hits.
Even if they're not doing it anymore, they're just almost unbendable. Like those guys, they just don't respond to that. They're not intimidated by a bunch of people on their keyboards. Again, unless there's so much money at stake. But I respect the fact that they don't really give a fuck.
Hey, we should, I want to give a shout out to the friends and family of Charlie from True Life, I'm Getting Married, who we lost yesterday, Jim. I don't know if you were a True Life fan.
No.
True Life on MTV was, just about the greatest thing on television in a certain era. And it really was I think the predecessor to modern day garbage reality TV, like the reality TV where it's all about shouting and fighting and all that stuff. Like True Life was doing that early. True Life was when we went away from like the real world and stuff like that and actually started doing, more of the garbage stuff, like they Jersey Shore would never have been a series had it not been for True Life, I Have a Summer Share. It was just these like 60-minute quote unquote it's just 60-minute documentaries where they would take just a really average, mundane, everyday topic and follow 3 people who were great characters as they did this thing. And they did this show, True Life, I'm Getting Married. And it was this couple from Staten Island who ended up staying married, I think. But this one guy, Charlie, was just such a stereotypical, angry Italian guy. There's this great, iconic scene of Charlie in his white tux with his hair all slicked back because it's 2001, yelling at his limo driver. And it was everything. It was everything to me and a lot of people. Nobody knows. He was like, the report didn't know. He was like, he was 40, in his late 40s. He's like 47, 48, something like that.
Killed himself.
And he what?
I'm just saying that. Maybe he killed himself. I'm just throwing it out there.
Oh, yeah. I don't know that that's remotely confirmed at all.
Yeah, let's
He seemed like he was actually.
Let's get that rumor going.
He seemed like he was in good spirits.
Oh, okay. Maybe he was sick. Fucking cancer on him. Poor guy.
I don't know if that's confirmed either. That's just a thing that you're saying. I don't know if it was COVID for sure.
I don't know what it is.
But he did. He passed away. This is
okay.
This is who we're talking about, Jim.
Big guy, what are you? The entrance ramp of the bridge? That's what you're gonna tell me? That's how you're gonna come off to me? That's how you're gonna come off to me? Do you have any clue who you're talking to right now? Besides the fact that it's my wedding, I'll cut you the up. I will gut you like the piece of that you are. Do you understand? Don't you dare come off to me like that on my wedding, because I'll hunt you down like cattle and I'll gut you. Do you understand?
Is he on the phone?
He's on the phone in a cul-de-sac in Staten Island wearing a white tux with tails.
Who's he yelling
Walking away from, he's yelling at the limo driver who is late to pick him up on his wedding day. And the limo driver said, he's coming through the tunnel. And he informed him that was not the proper response and he was prepared to gut him like a fish.
And was he a big, scary guy?
I mean, yeah, he's a muscular dude. I wouldn't
his name?
mess
Charlie?
with him. Charlie. I don't know what his last name was. Charlie B. I don't know, something Chi, something with a CCI at the end of it.
From what show?
Balducci. Charlie from True Life.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. And then, by the way, like, he got in the limo, he cooled off, and he had a great time at his wedding. He was wearing a white Kangol hat. He was, like, dancing with his friends. He had a blast.
Yeah, I don't think I know who he is.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm familiar with that show at all.
For True Life, it was Charlie, and it was Tommy Cheeseballs from True Life, I Have a Summer Share. Tommy Cheeseballs was the godfather of the Jersey Shore. Like, Tommy Cheeseballs was the actually Jersey Shore before the Jersey Shore was a show. It was like, it was the first kind of that Guido subculture. It was the first time MTV put it on, but it wasn't dolled up at all. It was just, here's Tommy Cheeseballs and his friends with a summer share on the Jersey Shore. And they were like, oh, we like this show. And so they cast all the other kids and had them actually do the Jersey Shore. And poor Tommy Cheeseball is out of luck. But
why'd they get
anybody
rid of him?
who's... Well, I mean, he was the True Life guy. He wasn't really cut to be a TV star. He was actually... Like, they didn't cast him to be a TV star. They were just like, we need to get a third of a 60-minute show out of this wacko.
Weren't those Jersey Shore people legit though? Like, weren't they?
Yeah,
really,
yeah. When I say cast, I don't mean like actors. I just mean
Right.
They specifically picked people who they thought would be good for reality TV. But yeah, they're all legit.
The True Life version is a much more accurate portrayal of what goes on in a Jersey Shore house. If you sprinkle in like a little bit more cocaine and Adderall into that episode, and it's a pretty much spot on Jersey Shore depiction.
I feel like there was cocaine and Adderall sprinkled in. It's just they didn't show the parts where they were actually doing cocaine and Adderall. Like, I feel like it's the same with Charlie. Like, there was something that took his mood from that rage-fueled, murderous energy to let's all have fun at this party together.
I have,
like,
I have a feeling that thing might have been cocaine or Adderall.
You do? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. If that's what you're thinking, I know. I mean, the name Montone, you just came from, you were on Island Time when we were doing Jimmy Day, so you probably know quite a bit about this.
Yeah, not quite as many stimulants as at my parents' house, but I am a veteran of a number of Belmar and Manasquan summers, and it gets fucking weird down there.
How did you do down there, Mike? Did you get laid a lot? The beach for me is a horror show. I mean, I've never even gotten a girl's number from the beach. You must hit fucking home runs there.
Yeah, the shore was that was always my best spot. I actually wound up dating for like 3 years a chick that I met down there in Belmar. But yeah, I mean, if you're in decent shape and you go out, like, because a lot of the bars you can wear like a tank top, or you can go shirtless. You can do quite well for yourself.
So wait,
dude,
you met a girl and
dated
dated her down there, or exclusively like in real life?
No, we met down there in like July, and we just kind of like started hanging out because we had like the same friend group, and then after the summer we just kind of stuck together, and it wound up being 3.5 years.
Oh,
look at that! Well, you get to go down there. You get to show off those arms. You can wear sunglasses because it's warm outside, so you can hide the eyes, whatever's going on up there.
Oh yeah,
and
that's
you're good to go,
one.
right?
Yeah, nice pair of shades. I'm a 9 from the nose down.
You accentuate. Here's something you're good at, Mike. It's accentuating the positive.
It is.
And hiding the negative, right?
That's what it's all about. I feel it's a very WWE thing. You know how it goes.
That's it.
Yeah,
I know how it goes. That's it.
Never break kayfabe.
That's right. That's right. We have Mark Normand joining the show. Mark Normand, who I think has just been crushing it throughout this whole quarantine. Mark, I was saying, I don't want to blow smoke up your ass, but I feel like as far as stand-ups go, you are one of the ones really shining through in terms of doing pure stand-up. I think that's from your special. There's not many people who I feel like the career trajectory is going up still through Corona and everything, but I feel like you are still having this buzz going with your special and everything. People are talking about Mark Norman, and I'm very happy about it.
Wow, really? This is all news to me. I'm flattered. I'm gay. I'm hard. I can't believe what I'm hearing. Thank you. That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me.
Where are you right now? You really look like you're relaxing in a luxurious place. I take it you're outside Central Park?
No, well, Jimbo, this is where it gets ugly. We were going from nice to bad. I was living in that shoebox with the whale, and it was getting tight in there, so we were fighting every day, and she works from home now, so we pulled up stakes, and we moved into a nice new fancy apartment, and I still own the old place, but I can't rent it because it's Corona, and now I'm bleeding money, and I'm going broke.
Wait, so now you're renting a place? Are you with outdoor space? Or you have a terrace?
A roof. I got a hell of a roof. I mean, it's public,
nice.
but nobody's up here yet, and it's a game changer. I mean, this new apartment is, I mean, the food tastes better, air is fresher, life is good, quality of life is way up, but nobody's renting my old place. I show young college gals, and they're like, "Oh, who could live here?" And I'm like, "I lived here for 4 years with a fucking cow. What are you talking about? You can make it work."
Doesn't the outdoor space make it different? Like you can just go sit out there and be alone for a few minutes and fucking do what you want to do?
It's night and day. I'm doing Zooms up here. I do little stretches and workouts and yogas and eat up here every night. I have a couple of beers up here at night. It's beautiful. It's a game changer.
I really got scared when you were starting that thing where you were like, you're not going to like this, but we were fighting and she's working at home. And I really thought that we had gone from having a conversation to possibly getting married to just blowing the whole relationship up. And I was going to say, what'd you do, Mark? What'd you do? But I'm happy for you again. However, that is a big financial, financial burden to have this other empty apartment just sitting there.
And I show it, like I get a lot of inquiries because we made it look real good with the fake photos online and the lying in the description. And then you show people and they're like, yikes, who could live in this waterboard ISIS opium den? I'm like, no, it was great. It's a great neighborhood. And they go, well, where's the washer dryer? I go, there isn't one. They go, well, where's the roof? And I go, the roof, no access. And they're out.
Are you asking too much for it?
I think I'm asking a normal amount, but I'm asking a non-COVID amount. People got you by the balls now. They're like, "What are you kidding? It's a pandemic. The world's ending. You got to cut at least 1,000 off of this."
Yeah,
but I still have a mortgage on it.
You picked a real bad time to rent an apartment in New York City. I'm going to be honest with you.
I know.
Yeah,
and I didn't get a great deal on this place, so I got double fisted. Yeah, I am a horrible
didn't get a great
person.
Deal? You didn't get a great deal on that place?
I got a standard deal, and this apartment is so coveted, this building, that they were like, we'll get anybody in 10 minutes after you leave. And I even ate dinner at the cellar that night, and Colin Quinn was there, and I told him the building. He was like, "Oh shit, you got in there!" So, still very proud of the building, but it's not cheap.
Yeah. What neighborhood is it in?
The Village. Staying in the Village.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. Coveted, baby. I'm talking a couple celebs in here as well.
So maybe you're having a couple brewskis on the roof, and all of a sudden, Hollywood Who's Who starts to tinker on.
Yeah, they won't talk to me, but I see them in the corner of the roof, and they got their prostitutes and escorts, and I leave them alone. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Just being like, oh my God, I live in the same building as this Yankee.
Now, how big is your apartment? One bedroom?
It's a one bedroom, but man, it's pre-war, sunken living room. I'm talking beautiful hardwood floor, giant windows. I got a street view. I mean, it's a game changer. But again, I am going broke, literally going broke.
Look, I feel like if that apartment building is good enough for Don Mattingly, it's got to be good enough for you, right?
That's right.
Am I close?
Yeah, you're in the ballpark. All right,
love it.
You're in the right era.
Oh, okay. I have no doubt, by the way, that by the end of this conversation, we'll know exactly who lives in that building.
We'll know what apartment he's in. We'll know what apartment he's in.
I know, you'll have my social security and my address and everything. Yeah. It's a game changer.
It is nice, and I could tell too how much more peaceful you are in the place that you're at now. Because before, when we would talk to you, you would literally have to do your Zoom calls walking around the streets of Manhattan in the middle of a pandemic, which you couldn't have wanted to do.
No, that was hard to do, and you make it work, though. I'm a sewer rat. I've never had a great apartment. I've always had 800 roommates. I used to live in Crown Heights, Bed-Stuy, Bushwick. I got bed bugs. I mean, I've done the gamut of, like, being a poor comic, working my way up, and this was my first experience, or is my first experience, of having a little room and luxury. And here's the weird thing. I feel guilty about it. I have, like, this beautiful apartment. I got in. It was hell getting in, by the way, the board meeting and the recommendation letters up the ass. But that's my fucked up brain, is I'm in this great place. And I'm like, I don't deserve this. What am I doing here? I should give this to a nice lady in Central Park. But I'm trying to enjoy it. And then, boy, it's nice.
How did you get past the co-op board doing what you do for a living? Like, were they weird about it, or?
I just say I'm a writer and I've written on this, and this. And I try to just avoid the whole comic thing, because my old building had a co-op meeting and they knew I was a comic and they hated it. They were like, are you going to have big parties? Are you going to have Louis C.K. over? Are you going to do this and that? And what if the business goes belly up and you just become poor? And I was like, these are all possibilities, but things are going all right. And then they're so stupid with comedy, because I'm like, I'm doing Conan next week. They're like, oh my God, you're doing Conan. You must be a millionaire. Like, no, it pays $800, but yeah, fuck it.
Yeah. Hopefully they don't have Sirius, and they could just go through and be like, do you keep the majority of your money in a drawer that got robbed one time? Yeah, that's also somewhat accurate.
Yes, and I'm living with the chick who did it. She bought a bunch of baked goods after, apparently.
That's because she got so big. That's amazing, though, when you look at the transition to come from, like, literally within a year ago or so, you were still keeping all your cash in a drawer, and now you've got a mortgage and you're paying rent, and I mean things must be going well.
Well, they were going great there, Sammy. And then the pandemic hit, and in my head, I'm still in that going great momentum lifestyle. And then you can't get out on the road anymore. So now, if I was on the road, this would be okay. I'd be fine. But the road is really where I made my scratch, and that's been taken away. And I didn't put that together in my future plannings of income and finances, and that's where I'm getting fucked right up the pooper.
Wait, are you guys splitting this?
She's helping. Let's be honest. I'm not. She's not getting her full freight. I mean,
so you're buying this?
Ironically, she's not pulling her weight. But no, I'm renting.
Oh,
with an option to buy in a year or two, maybe. But I'd love to buy it, because this is the most beautiful place I've ever been in my life, and it's great, and I love it. But I don't know if I'll be able to swing it in a year if things keep going the way they're going.
In a year,
I like the idea. I like the idea of you. Yeah. I like the idea of you, like, being in the same scenario that you're in now, and then just keep finding new places, but you keep buying places. You're gonna end up accidentally becoming a real estate mogul. Like, you're gonna have all these properties throughout Manhattan, but it's just because you can't rent them.
Maybe, but I mean, eventually I won't be able to pay the mortgage. So how can I be a mogul if I can't even keep one mortgage?
Well, this is part of your
Maybe
story.
you will have to rent them.
I didn't think I could pay the mortgage. There was the virus, and all of a sudden, like, oh my God, what did he do? And then things turn around, and you'll buy a third property. Yeah, you're going to do fine.
I hope you're right. You guys are making me feel way better. I wake up with a cold sweat every day, just freaking out about Uncle Sam and that checkbook.
Yeah,
Mark. When I see you, I think to myself, I don't know if comedy's going to work out, but he will be the next Barbara Corcoran for sure. That's...
I've always really wanted to fuck Lori. I don't know why. You know, the blondish, weird lady?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Something about her. And Damon John, too.
well, Lori's hot, but she's also got that power thing. Like she seems like a powerful woman, you know. So
Yes.
I get that. I get it.
And she's always dolled up to hell and back. And
oh yeah,
yes,
oh
she's
yeah.
got that QVC stank on her, like she's your mom's hot friend, you know. Kind of like that.
Yeah. I feel like she's like the hot girl that hangs out with the nerds, and all the nerds kind of have this competition over which one of them. Like the nerds would be Mark Cuban and Mr. Wonderful and Damon, and they're all kind of arguing over who's going to eventually get to sleep with her, but none of them actually are. You know?
Right. And then she gets naked. She has a smelly vagina, and Mr. Wonderful goes, "I'm out."
That's right.
Now we're doing this. That was already better than an SNL sketch.
Have you ever been chased away by a smelly box? I don't know if one's ever sent me packing.
No, I've had many, and I've had some real dumpsters, some real barrel fires. But
yeah,
I mean, you're already there. I'll eat a smelly fish like a flounder at a restaurant. I'm like, the smell's a little turned, but I still eat it, and it's the same with a veg.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I don't think I've been chased. There's been some that I'm just like, wow, but I don't think I've ever been chased away by one.
I banged. This is maybe 10 years ago. I was at Caroline's. We all went to that bar after that Irish pub across the street. We got shithoused, and one of the bartenders was this fun-loving Puerto Rican gal, and we ended up like making out and stuff. And then we took the D train all the way up to the Bronx. I'm talking Yankee Stadium, hanging out with my new tenant. And we go back to her place, shitbox apartment, and she took those jeans off, and it was like a pressure washer to the face. I was like, Jesus, hey, Jane will open a window. And we went at it all night.
You did bang her, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I just figured by the scent alone, she must have had something or some kind of internal thing, like a dead tooth or something was going on.
Yeah. Is there anything worse than when you're banging and you pull out and there's that milky stuff on the base of your dick?
Oh, God.
Oh, Jesus. We're
Isn't
going
that the
right
worst?
in, aren't we?
Isn't that the worst?
I thought the milky was good because I think the milky means that she's really into it.
Not when it really smells. I mean, when there's a scent to it, like when it's like got a pungent, like a fucking tart. Awful.
Yes,
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh yeah, it's that foam you got to knock off the espresso. You know, you got to shave it right off, or like the Guinness. You know how they have that little knife and they shave that foam off the top.
Yeah.
Oh. But yeah. I dated a gal. Now this is you really want to get graphic. I dated a gal and she had the IUD, so she was like, just go nuts in me, and I was like, all right, great. And after that, she would smell better. How weird is
really?
that? Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I mean, she had a neutral, vagina smell, like just normal skin. And then I would do that, and then we'd talk about it at dinner. Like she's like, yeah, it's weird. It smells better now, and I'm like, maybe that means you're the one.
So wait, you brought it up or she did?
She brought it up. She was cool. She was filthy. She was fun.
She liked the way it smelled better. Maybe she just liked that you did that. You know what I mean? And so she liked that you did that so much that she smelled it. And she was like, now I'm claiming ownership type of thing.
Maybe there was some kind of alpha biological thing there, but she was into it. And I'd be like, what about if I blow on the tits? She was like, no, inside. It feels good.
Wow.
She said she could feel it, and she said that her naturally as a woman, when that happens, your body like kicks into gear because it thinks it's getting pregnant or whatever it's doing. And I don't know. She had a whole thing, and now she's cleaning ditches somewhere. But yeah, she was fun.
How many times, Mark, and let's be honest, how many times have you daydreamed about Jerry coming to see you there and sitting on the roof, and people would go like, hey, this guy's a somebody. He hangs out with Seinfeld. How many times have you thought of getting into the celebrity culture?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If Mariano Rivera walks by and all of a sudden he sees Jerry Seinfeld and Mark Norman hanging out.
If I could tell you guys, honestly, how many times I've done stuff like that, you would hang up the phone right now. I saw a baseball mitt on the street, like a busted baseball mitt somebody threw out, and I was like, what if I called Jerry who played catch? I mean, it's sad, the levels that my mind will go fantasy-wise with Jerry.
Call Jerry
it's
to
horrific.
play catch?
You're working
I
out some
see
paternal issues with Jerry Seinfeld.
every Porsche I see, I go, what if I took a photo of that Porsche and sent it to him? Like, hey, there's a Porsche on my block. He'd be like, yeah, I got 80 of them. Blow me.
Yeah.
Stop calling
But
me.
you should do that. That's a good instinct to take pictures of cars. I would love that. A young comic friend to text me photos of cars that are the same brand I have. I would love it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jim, you screwed me, by the way. You blew my head up about that idea in Times Square with the stick shift. I got a wild hair at my ass. I sent him a text and he hated it.
Mark,
you fucked me.
Mark, we were fucking with you.
Wait,
I
what was
bought it,
the
hook line. I was like,
what
Jim liked it. This could be something. He wouldn't lie to me. An old
what was
pal.
the idea? What was the idea? But I don't remember.
I mean, I remember this.
Oh, teaching you to drive a stick shift.
Teaching me to drive a stick in Times Square, and during a pandemic, it's empty, so you get a visually stunning empty Times Square with the lights, and then me and him ball busting, and he's calling me a retard. I'm missing fifth gear in a cool car, and then we film it.
And you pitched that to him.
Oh boy, did I was on the road in Wisconsin, and I was so
Feeling
lonely,
good.
and it was like 2 a.m. And I was like, fuck it. And I just had the send button, winking at me. And after like 20 minutes, I was like, and I just pushed it. And I regretted it the second I pushed it. It was like that movie, The Bridge, where the guy's like, right when I jumped off the bridge, I knew it was a mistake. And
Yeah.
I felt the same way. And like 3 days later, he wrote back like, yeah, or yeah, whatever, or something like that.
Oh, now what did you say that you wanted to do? He will teach you to drive?
Yeah. I said, funny video idea, : and then I described the idea in detail, mind you, and I put some big cool words in that I looked up on thesaurus.com, and that was it. I just pushed send, and he wrote back like 3 days later, so you can tell he was obviously like, I got this big matzo ball just hanging there looming over me. Let me just get rid of this fucking chooch.
And you put yourself and him in a video.
Yes. I'm not proud of it. And I haven't heard from him since. That was months ago. I told Quinn about it. He was like, oh. He had to like hold his chest. He pulled like a Sanford and Son. He was like, oh, you fucked up. You blew it.
Yeah, man. This is gonna, I mean, after fucking up opening and then sending this text, this could be strike 2.
Oh, God damn it. Jesus.
I mean,
Well, I still got one left. I could hit a homer on the third strike, third bat.
Are you hoping your neighbor walks up there with all these references? Hey,
I was just thinking that. Yeah, I'd love to see old Yogi Berra over here.
Man, I can't believe you sent in that text. I can't believe you pitched it to him.
Well, my friend got in my head because first Jim was like, "This is a great idea. I love this," and I was like, "Oh, okay, all right. So that's something." And then my friend was like, here's your problem with Jerry. You're treating him like he's this entity, giant American icon, where you opened for him, you've hung out with him, you've drank with wine with him.
Yeah.
Fucking just send it. Treat him like a human being. He's just a person. And I was like, yeah, you're right. But here's the thing. I don't think a regular person wants that text either.
No.
Teaching you to drive? What an awful idea.
Yeah.
Come on.
I wish you sent it to Harry Chapin.
My only option now is to show him the apartment. Show him I'm not a psycho. Look at this place, Jerry. I couldn't be a weirdo with a place like this.
Yeah, Jerry, invite him over.
Was there any? Was Jerry in your head at all? Be on it when you're like searching for a new apartment. I know you said that like the old one was too small, and your wife's. I mean your girlfriend's working from home, so it's like they're in each other's space. But wasn't there also a part that you're going like, okay, I'm hanging out with the likes of Jerry Seinfeld now. If I want to bring somebody over to my place, I can't have them thinking that this is charity. I have to, bring them to someplace respectable. This would be respectable. Still, not over the top, but respectable. Was that part of the thinking?
I mean, everything has crossed my mind. So I would be lying if I didn't say I didn't picture him walking in going, nice place. I've already pictured the whole thing. I played it all out in the shower. I even had a dream of him coming over and doing a podcast in my apartment. And, because what else is he doing? But
Right.
I mean, I'm not going to ask. But yeah.
Why not?
So yeah,
I mean,
of course
honestly,
I've thought about it.
Why wouldn't he want to go? I mean, doing a podcast is actually not a crazy thing to ask him to do. That makes more sense than a driving show. Saying, do you want to do a podcast?
Tease me, Jimbo Slice. You're going to kill me here. I eventually going to get a restraining order if you keep giving me these fucking
honestly,
affirmations.
I'll be honest. A podcast is not crazy because everyone does podcasts. Like that's something everyone's doing. That's asking someone to put you in a video together is a crazy request. Do a podcast. I mean, Gervais was on our show. Everybody does this shit. That's a normal request, and that's not something that's put me in a video with you. Is like me saying to Ozzy, "Hey, can I be in your next music video?" He'd go, "What?"
You're right.
But saying, "Would you do our radio show?" is more in line with what I do for a living, if that makes sense. So having him on the radio show makes sense. Asking someone to do a podcast is not out of line. I mean, we've pitched to have him on this show. You know, that's not a crazy thing. Do my podcast is normal. Let me do a new show with you that you'll be the big name pushing in a thing you've already established.
That's a little rough. Yeah.
That was rough.
Honestly,
God, every time you say that, you're turning a knife here.
But it is. He probably likes the fact that you're a little nuts and honest. And if you had him on the podcast and discussed that, he would probably be honest with you. Like he seems like I don't know him as well as you do, but I do know that he's the type who just spits things out. Like he just says what he wants to fucking say. And he would probably give you an honest answer on a podcast, and it would be funny. I think he'd be truthful.
Now, are you thinking Zoom? Obviously, Zoom. He wouldn't come over.
Oh,
well, you got the new apartment, and you got outdoor space. You could be outdoors and do it.
But no, he might. Seinfeld. That's a good point. Seinfeld's not going to want to sit on a roof and do a podcast where there's other people milling about. Yeah, Zoom. Honestly, Zoom. I didn't think of that.
Now, are you fucking with me again here, there?
No.
Norton, or is this a genuine moment here?
But a podcast is normal. That's a normal thing. I mean, I would ask somebody to be on a podcast once I knew them. I mean, look.
Yeah.
I've asked people, famous people, to do things that was work related. I had to ask people to open my special. It was embarrassing. Or I had to ask
De Niro
for the chip thing. Yeah, where Ozzy. I've asked Ozzy, and when a work related thing, I've asked people to do. But to suggest that they do something that's already in their wheelhouse is where it probably is. Like I couldn't say to Ozzy, "Let's do something musically." I have to ask him, "Hey, I'm doing this project. I would love you to do this." So to say to Seinfeld, "Hey, if you want to come on the podcast and talk about it," that makes more sense because that's your thing. Do you know what I mean? That inviting someone to your thing is different than inviting yourself to their thing.
Okay. Well said. Now I know.
That's the way I can think of it.
I learned the hard way.
And
maybe
you don't mention that you thought of it in a dream. That's probably you don't mention that part.
Technically, it was in a bubble bath, and I was fantasizing. But yeah, I got you. Jeez, man, what the hell was I thinking?
You were drunk.
Send on that.
Were you drunk? It was 2 a.m.
I think I had a couple of cocktails.
Yeah, see, that'll do it.
A couple of cocktails. What of it?
But he was he was very complimentary. I did some YouTube videos about like me getting back out there as a comic, like Rusty Comic does new material, and he is very complimentary about that. So I feel like I had some momentum.
Yeah. Well, what have you? Are you going on the road kind of regularly, or did you just do that one couple of weekends that you did the YouTube videos about?
I had a road gig every weekend for the rest of the year locked up, but most of them are getting canceled just one by one. But I'm still.
Yeah.
I just did Kansas City. I did Wisconsin before that. But now, since all the clubs are falling through, Bert Kreischer and me have been chatting, and he said, "Why don't you come open at my drive-in movie theater gigs? I'm on a bus. We'll have a great time. We'll go whitewater rafting. We'll barbecue all day. We'll drink all." So I'm like, I'll do that just to hang. So that's like free money. So I'm going to do that in August.
Now,
that's awesome.
Let me ask you, Mark,
that's
your club
awesome.
dates in September canceled? Because I have a couple things in September I'm worried about. Like at the end.
No, those are hanging in strong.
Okay.
September seems to be fine. August is half gone, half there.
Okay.
But who knows? Everything could keep changing. That's why it's tough.
Did you bring notes up with you? Sorry, Sam. Did you bring notes up with you, or did you just walk up?
lot of notes, and I think the audience, if you let them in on how rusty we are and how a lot of this is new, I just put out a special. I'm trying to build a new act here. I think they kind of dug that, and the audiences are so hot and ready to laugh, and it's like cathartic. I mean, everything on the news is just death and COVID and protests, and politics, Trump. So if you have like a funny COVID silly joke, they fucking love it because it's like, we can laugh at this thing.
Yeah. Did you do a lot of COVID material or did you keep it brief?
Well, that's all I've been writing because it's just up your ass all day, you know, and so I've been tweeting a lot of COVID stuff. So I just do like 8 minutes of COVID up top and get it out of the way, and then I do my real act. But I feel like you got to address it. I mean, the waitress is wearing a mask all day, and there's plexiglass in some of the showrooms, like dividing tables and shit. So it's got to be acknowledged.
For my opening COVID joke, what I want to do is, especially if the waitresses are wearing masks, I thought it'd be funny if I said, I mean, I don't know about you, but I feel like I'm in a bank robbery in the old Wild West.
That's very good.
Thank you. Is that good?
That's really, really good. Yeah.
You know, I'd throw my arms up and go, don't shoot. You know, they'd probably enjoy me acknowledging.
It feels like that. Ironically, now at the bank, you get in trouble for not wearing a mask. There's your tag.
Now you get, it's funny. Who would have thought? I'll say it like this. Who among us would have thought that one day not wearing a mask in the bank would be the faux pas?
That's even better, actually. Yeah, that is a little better. Yeah.
That's good stuff.
It becomes a thinking man's joke at that point.
Right. That's highbrow.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll say this. I was making love to this girl I know, and I'm wearing a mask, and it's the first time she ever got wet.
Oh, that's
that
good.
Feels more like your cup of jizz.
That's my wheelhouse.
So. Yeah. But I will say, and this is going to sound crazy, but we've been cooped up so long, and New York is a fucking shit show with the crime and everything right now, that like just getting to Newark Airport is fun. You're like, oh, there's the Cinnabon. Ooh, what row am I? I mean, I'm having fun on the plane. I'm like, ooh, we got water on the plane. This is great. And just because everything's an adventure now. And I'm in Wisconsin, jumping down the street, going, this is fucking awesome. I'm in Appleton, Wisconsin.
Yeah. How are the planes? Is it all anxiety inducing?
It's way better. I mean, they're half full. You get the whole row. They don't bug you as much. You know, like they'll walk up and down and say like, fix your seat, put your tray up. They don't do that as much because I think the flight attendants are just up there, scared of getting COVID. So like, not only is the flight empty, it's clean as shit because they scrub the hell out of them, and the waitress doesn't, or the flight attendant doesn't bug you. So I take a Dramamine, I pass out, or I read a book, or listen to a pod, and I'm gravy.
That's awesome.
And have they been seating like in Kansas City or wherever, Mark? Are they seating like half the room?
Yeah, it's 50%, but I'll tell you, they do it in a good way. They sell the table now. They used to just sell tickets. Now you got to buy the whole table, so you're not sitting with a stranger, and it doesn't feel that weird. It feels, and I wasn't a huge draw anyway, so people just want to go out, and if they're there, they want to laugh because they had to fight off a disease or a virus or take a risk to be there. So if they're sitting in that table, they're dying for some comedy, literally.
Yeah, I gotta write some fucking COVID jokes. I have none.
Just have a couple, just to get it, just set the table a little bit, get it out of the way. I don't want to be COVID comedy guy, but
I'm gonna go
I
up
feel
and
he's
go.
got to address it.
Well, look at this. I mean, here's the one advantage to COVID. I'm drawing more people than I used to.
There we go.
Right?
That's good. That's really good. That's actually a great way to,
get them all.
Well, Jim, your problem is going to be that the what you've set up for yourself during quarantine. Like Mark put out a special. He put out those YouTube videos of starting you and Sam Morril doing your stuff. Like you've been putting out YouTube content that is kind of at the end of the day centered around you as a stand-up. Jim, the impression that you've given everybody during quarantine is that you are dead and Chip Chipperson has taken over.
That's the impression I want everybody to have. It's the best. You know what really sucks too? I was going to tape a CD in Minneapolis. I think at Acme I was supposed to do. I wanted to tape a CD there because the room everyone says it's so great, and I wound up losing the fucking gig. That would have been nice to have a CD out. I mean that kind of is. I haven't done any stand-up related things, but again, guys like Andrew Schultz is doing a great job. Mark, Sam, this guy's doing good stuff that had some stuff shot already. And it was smart to put it out. It sucks that you can't tour on it immediately, but now that you're getting out there, you'll probably see people showing up at least.
Yeah, and not to sound like a cunt, but a lot of people are just kind of taking this time off, and I like the idea of when the world opens back up, I want to be fresh. I want to be ready. I don't want to be like, oh, now I got to get the rust off. I want the rust to be off, and when that starting pistol goes, I'm ready to run.
Running out of a fucking barn. It's going to be a door slowly opening that everybody's just kind of shoulder to shoulder bumbling through like fools, and then it's just going to be open. I think it's going to be a slow process.
You